Alright guys, Weekend Modder here with a new quick how-to video. Something that maybe more people should be aware of how to do because it's really easy and people seem to think it's pretty cool. It's how to take the Ring of Light board off of a fat Xbox 360, so all of them are going to look roughly equivalent to this, and how to remove the original green LEDs that were dual switchable, and how to install replacement LEDs, and then also keep it so that your error codes will continue to show. So the first thing that we need to do is just get a nice hot soldering iron and then have some spare solder on hand, and we're going to basically just float off the existing LEDs. So we will take just if I could do this without bumping the camera, that would be great for you guys. A little bit of LEDs in the center. So what I like to do is basically just heat one end and then kind of drag it over to the other, and then the LED kind of becomes broadside, or gets broadsided by the solder as a whole, and then it just kind of floats off and leaves the little pads like you can see there. And then these, what I like to do is kind of rotate it so that I'm always using approximately the same procedure, but you can do whatever makes sense to you. But basically, again, I start on one side of the LED, I apply some heat, apply some solder till I can tell that it's wicked to it there, and then I just apply more solder and then just kind of drag it back, and then kind of broadside the whole thing, and then the LED slides off. And then sometimes if you've left with a big connected glob of solder like that, I just apply a little bit more and kind of wiggle it back and forth, and typically, as you can see there, it did. They just separate out into the individual pads again. This one, sometimes I have to do a little bit different, kind of coming from the other angle, just because it's so close to the receiver deal here. So again, just heating up all the solder on one side. This kind of flows to the connector in the middle. Maybe do some on the other side, and then just kind of drag it all up so that I'm kind of broadsiding the whole thing. And then when there's, little globby of solder left, do a little back and forth there, and we can see all the individual contacts now. So we'll rotate this one around again. So here we will again solder to one side, kind of drag it to the middle, over to the end, and just get it broadside. And then if you need to do a little cleanup, this is rosin core solder flux. Solder that has a tiny amount of flux in the solder rosin core. So when I apply a little bit more, that's essentially what I'm doing, is the equivalent of mostly just fluxing a little bit. So last one, same technique, heat up one side, drag it over to the middle, and then just kind of broadside the whole thing. Float the LED right off of there, and then just clean up the pads so that we can see each pad individually. That one there it goes. Nice and clean now. So now the next thing I'm going to do is, personally, how I handle this is I take a little piece of cardboard out, and then I grab my rosin, or my 0603 SMD LEDs. So they come in like a real package like this. I've written blue on there. Buy them like $500-600 at a time. They're cheap. You get them on eBay. If you just do a search, 0603 SMD LEDs. So SMD, surface mount display, surface mount component. I don't know what the D is about. Surface mount. That's what SMD stands for. So basically, it's just a row of them that are under another piece of plastic, and you peel the plastic off. For a fat like this, I would typically use a total of 5 LEDs, but in this case we're going to do alternating blue and white. So I'm going to make blue the one that has 3, and then we'll do the other 2 in white. So we'll go 1, 2, 3 LEDs, and they just lay out on my little paper. Oh man, I keep bumping the camera. I'm sorry, guys. Alright, so then I have just a little set of tweezers here, and basically what we do is we get up on the LED and we pick it up with a pair of tweezers, and then we look at the underside of it. And I'm not even going to really try with my camera to capture the underside. because it's so small. But what I'm going to point out is I'll overlay an image showing what you see on the bottom of the LED right now. So you can see how it's got like a flat side and then a little kind of point or like a T that's on its side, or a flat line and then a little line, or possibly a triangle on some LEDs. So the flat side of the triangle is one side, or what I would consider the flat side. That's always going to be your positive end, and wherever the arrow of that the triangle kind of makes points, or wherever the little line goes, that's your negative side. So from there, it's simply just referencing the polarity and then the polarity reference image for the LED board itself. So I put the flat line into the positive one in this corner here. And then I didn't actually attach the negative yet, but it's touching to this middle contact, as well as I'm going to make a solder bridge to the second contact. So the way that these boards work is they actually switch ground rather than switching power. So when power is constantly applied, but when this switch for negative is on, the LED will light. And then when this switch for negative is on, the LED will also light. So the LEDs that we replaced were actually 2 color LEDs. That's why you can get red and green rings to display. When it boots normally, it's green. When there's an error code, it's red. That's because they were using the 2 different negatives to switch the color. In ours, we're just applying both to the same LED. So this is a blue LED. Every time it lights will be blue, but it will light when a normal light would light up, and it will also light when the error code would light up, if that makes any amount of sense. All right, so on to the next LED. I'm going to do the center one. So again, you look at the bottom of the LED. That gives you the polarity of the LED, and you just look at the polarity on the reference image. So I'm going arrow side, or pointed inside onto the negative terminal first there. And then so the flat side of the triangle, or the flat line, is the other side, and that's the positive end, which I just attached to the positive terminal there. So really kind of tiny soldering. So we've got 2 done there. So the last one, you can see this LED. I don't know if you can tell even in the 1080p video. It's actually upside down. So there's our line side, and then on this side there's our pointed side. So I just flipped it over so that I can pick it up and then place it on the board appropriately. So I'm looking at it to see how it's oriented, and on this side I have the positive side. So I'm going to rotate my board. So this is the positive according to the diagram, and I'm just going to heat it up and just kind of stamp it in there. Alright, sorry about that. The phone rang and it made the video. So I got my positive end in and I soldered that down. So now I'm just going to make it touch the middle connection. And then again, I'll make a solder bridge so that it's touching both here, so we get light up for normal LED and for error LED. So we've got the 3 blues in, and that's done. And then so the other one on this one is white LEDs. So I've got a different package of those here. Yep, so here's my package of 0603 white LEDs. And I actually only need 2 of these bad boys. So we'll pull this out and just 1, 2, and there they are. So you can notice maybe in the video that they actually have a little bit different of size, not really size, I guess height of the little LED segment here that's on this thing. But that's totally normal. There's some variation just between like manufacturers and stuff. So again, I look at my polarity, I rotate so that I can get access to the, where I need to be, and then that's the positive side. And then same technique here. We connect it to the middle. And then we build a solder bridge. we go. So that again, this one will light up when both would have lit up, whatever. And then so final, I was just pushing down on that one to get it to stick to my finger for just a second, and so I could flip it over. So we'll do the last one here, and I picked up the positive side, so we're going here. I've got the positive side is this side, and then the negative side's over here. So I'm going positive in here, and then I'm going to rotate it a little bit so that I can get my little solder bridge to build there, and then we'll just retouch that, and there we go. So now that LED is on there, all 5 of them redone and set up so that they should still light up when the error codes occur, so that you're not giving up on you know, the ability to see error codes. With an RGH console, that's less important because they kind of have error codes that display funky anyway. But with like just if you had a retail console that you just wanted RG or you just wanted custom lights on, you would totally still want to know if you got Red Ring of Death one day or whatever. So just that little bit of solder bridging makes it so that you know, you get the lights for both types. And I, for the life of me, can't seem to put this light in there. There we go. Alright, sorry about that. So I got that in there. I'm going to plug in the just power to that. And this is actually a Red Ring console or a failed RGH or something that was up my personal console. This was never a customer's console. But I just use it for testing Ring of Light boards now because I can just plug one into the front of it. I wonder if it's actually trying to boot. I think I left it in kind of a bootable state. There it goes. So there, it just booted, and we've got our blue and white LEDs. First run, first try. No guesswork about whether it worked or not, because we followed the diagram and read the polarity on the LEDs, and you're all set. So hope this helps somebody out there.